Dion, man, you are putting out some heated titles on your YouTube videos. I think you did a YouTube live earlier in the week, or maybe it was last week, where the title went something like this: Generational Wealth is a Bad Goal. Dude, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Tell me what your thoughts were.
I went back and forth on some titles with generational wealth. Um, and I had to rethink because I didn't want to get canceled because these are bad words you should never say. You should never use these words, but they were going to be in a title to draw views, right? Seeking generational wealth is retarded.
Oh, come on.
Obviously, that one didn't make it past the thing.
Yeah, that's not doesn't pass the sniff test.
Why you are an idiot if generational wealth is your goal? Again, didn't make it through. So I settled on, it's a bad goal.
So I have no idea where this goes. I just saw it as we were getting ready for this. Tell me why you think generational wealth is a bad goal.
One of the first questions I think we ask people, why do you want to invest? Because we know if you're going to invest in stocks or grow a business or crypto or real estate or flipping, wholesaling, buy and hold, whatever you're going to do, things are going to go wrong. Right? You're going to trip every now and then. Interest rates will double in 6 months. Prices will continue to go up. The crash bows will be wrong for a decade. Whatever can go wrong, you're going to have stumbling blocks. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have a strong enough reason, why are you doing this? It's not, for us, sometimes worth investing the time, energy, and effort to help somebody get on the path to financial freedom. If we know they're just going to quit, the first thing,
right,
pops up
first
in their
bump
way.
in the road, yeah.
So people will say, I want to quit my job. Well, do you just hate your job? Go get a different job. I mean, you're going to put a lot of effort in financial freedom if it's just to quit a job you hate and then go find a job you like. You just go get the job you like. Is it, I want time freedom? Okay. All right. You have me listening. Is it, there's one thing, there's two things, but there's one main thing you can do for your kids that really does matter. But a lot of people will say, I want to create generational wealth. And here's why this is such a bad idea. There's some statistics on anybody who gets a windfall, 70% of them file bankruptcy within 5 years. So the sports ball players who get a big contract, the lottery winners, right, get track them 5 years later. A lot of them have financial issues. Then a lot of the large, and I mean like multi-deca-millionaire families, by the third generation have lost the money. Now there's a few. Now they create a foundation. The Rockefeller Foundation still has the Rockefeller family members. Not so much. The foundation does. You go through all of the big families, and by a certain level, they just lose it. So let's say you create generational wealth, and then your kids inherited it. They didn't earn it. They didn't learn how to manage it. They don't know how to do it. So they're going to lose it. And within 5 years, 70% of them would be filing bankruptcy. So congratulations, you spent your entire life growing generational wealth so that they can have 5 years of memories of blowing through it. Right. So that's the first negative. The second negative, and this is the one that matters the most to me, and why my kids know they're not inheriting anything. Hypothetical story. Made up story, couldn't possibly be true. But let's say I had a brother, just fictitious brother, who retired early with 10 rental properties paid off that he purchased using the home equity line of credit strategy. This made up person has a son and daughter. So I would have a niece and nephew, right? Hypothetical, not a real story. Who became fairly worthless people between the ages of 20 and 30. Constantly repeating the phrase, I don't have to worry about retirement. When dad croaks, I get his stuff. What'd you do to the psyche to that person thinking they don't have to do anything productive with their life in this hypothetical, not real, made up story? David and Tammy, I love you both. But did nothing between 20 and 30, played stupid online games or dated everybody and blew through all their money because they had full retirement plans as soon as dad dies. Now let's look at what happens to someone like my brother. And so he had his kids when he was in his 20s. So when they're 50, he'll be 70. So at 50, his retirement's probably not, hopefully not theirs, right? He might live to like 80. So at about 60, they might start to get the properties, unless he lives long enough to go into assisted living. Because assisted living takes a certain amount of your money, and that's at a certain age, you qualify for, what is it, Medicare, Medicaid, right? When an age kicks in, as long as your net worth is basically zero. So you have to blow through all of your money for then the Medicare or Medicaid to pay for your assisted living to be at zero. So the planned generational wealth set the kids up for failure, thinking dad's our retirement plan. I don't have to do anything productive. In his case, there's no mortgages, so they would get the property, probably wouldn't go to probate. But do they have the cash reserves?
Oh, they would sell them in a heartbeat. They would be listed the next day.
And then have a bunch of money, a big windfall, probably be bankrupt within 5 years, right? 70% of the people. So generational wealth as a goal, it's an awesome byproduct. Like, there's nothing wrong with the fact that, well, I don't tell my kids this. I tell them that when I'm about 80, I'm going to marry a 19-year-old and they're going to get everything. But so they need to be productive. They need to plan for their own retirement. Early retirement is great. I'll teach them how to do it, help them how to do it, right? But that's not the best thing you can do for your kids. The best thing you can do for your kids, and so there's two things. One, I'm going to talk about the best thing that I want you to do for your kids. And second, I'm going to steal from a quote from Bruce Lee. But the first one is, don't become a financial burden to your kids when you're too old to work. Yep. How many of your friends, if you're between 30 and 50, how many of your friends are paying their parents' cell phone bill, car insurance, food, whatever they're providing? That means that parent kind of failed at the one thing they could do for their kids, is to not become a financial burden. So yeah, my kids will inherit a couple of $1 million each from my real estate portfolio. That's if I died now. So in 10, 20, 30, 40 years, they might get closer to 5 to 10 million each. And based on inflation, that's about $50. So that will be a byproduct of me doing the thing that mattered, is not becoming a financial burden. I wanted financial freedom so that they don't have to take care of me. Also, I've seen them raise pets. I don't want them taking care of me. I want paid professionals. But here's the other thing you could do for your kids. And this is the stealing from Bruce Lee. Instead of trying to give your kids all the things you never had, right? You grew up kind of poor, so you want to be wealthy so you can give your kids all this wealth. Instead of giving them what you never had, teach them what you were never taught, right? We grew up by parents saying, get good grades, get a good job, commit to your retirement account or work for a pension, save and invest for the long term, work till you're 65, hope Social Security provides for you, right? Don't teach your kids that. Actually teach them how money works. Teach them how saving is just a step on the road to investing. Investing is where financial freedom and wealth comes from. Instead of trying to say, my goal is to create generational wealth. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is I've made some shorts on generational wealth, and man, you talk about the hate coming out from people who have nothing, right? They don't own any investments, don't own any real estate or anything. And they say, no, my kids are my everything. They're my world. I'm going to do everything to give them everything. So set them up for failure, make them feel like they don't need to produce anything themselves, and then become a financial burden to them. Seems like the path that person that came at me with all the hate is going to do. And I mean, there was some vitriol. It was a visceral reaction.
Yeah. So I didn't know where this was going to go. I just saw the title. I will tell you this. I'm very much in the camp that generational wealth happens if you stay in the game long enough. For me, the goal is to get to 1, then get to 4. If you want to get to 10, by all means, go nuts. Once you're past 10, but it all starts with doing the work. It all starts with 1. I think the goal of having 100 or 1,000 or generational wealth is big. It makes you feel good, but it is too big to take action. That's the problem I have with saying, hey, my goal is generational wealth and you got squat today. It's like, what the hell are you doing? The goal should be, I'm going to buy 1 rental property. I'm going to buy this, or I'm going to buy that. Generational wealth happens. I don't think you plan for and execute for. Like, we've been doing this 23 years. I promise you generational wealth was never a goal of mine. It has happened, but it's always the next deal, the next thing. So didn't know where this was going to go. I love it. If somebody wanted more hot takes, where would they find you?
You can find me right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom, where I do live streams on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, where you can come at me and we can have a debate.
Come at me, bro. Thank you, buddy. Take care of yourself.
Ciao.